And now, Billy Joel, the man and his music. Brought to you by Levi's for Men. The Levi's jeans cut and styled for a man. By the U.S. Army, a great place to be all you can be. And by Michelob, some things speak for themselves. We'll join Dave Herman for an exclusive 2-hour interview with Billy Joel right after this.
Billy Joel comes from a working-class family in Hicksville, Long Island, a suburb about 50 miles from New York City. His father left home when Billy was still a small boy, so Billy Joel and his sister were raised by his mother. He started playing piano while very young, and by the time he was in his teens, he was working professionally. Then, after years of paying musical dues, Billy suddenly became a superstar, one of America's top writers and performers. But in spite of the proverbial fame and fortune, Billy Joel remains warm and down to earth. It was a sunny September afternoon when I went out to his house to talk with him about his life and his music. It was he who suggested we sit out on the lawn, overlooking the water. His house is a comfortable one, and not far from the place he grew up, and that's where we started our conversation.
I was going to be a musician, I think, since I was 4 years old. That was it. My mom took me down the street, took the piano lessons, bing, bang, boom, and I played the piano. Then when I was 14 in my first gig, I'm up on the stage, playing, girls are looking at us, people are going, yay.
It's the great motivator, isn't it? I mean, all the rock people, the rock men that I talk to, interviewing these series, well, one way or another, it always comes down to, it was a great way to get girls.
That was a big part of it. I mean, look, when you're 14, you're nothing but a screaming mass of hormones. And you're up on stage and you're playing, and there's girls looking at you who wouldn't look twice at you otherwise. And then you get paid. At the end of the night, we got like $15 or something for the whole band.
And it's fun.
Yeah, so I said, you get paid for this? That's it. This is what I'm going to do. And I really had no choice after that. There wasn't a conscious decision on my part. It was like, you have to breathe, you have to eat, and you have to be a musician. That's it. Well, I used to go to, parties. I was kind of shy, believe it or not. And I'd go to the party, and if there was a piano there, I'd, sit down and play after. Well, come on, Billy, play the piano, play the piano. Okay. And all these people would gather around the piano and start singing along, and I had a hard time meeting girls. I couldn't just, walk up to her, go, hey, babe, how you doing? I'm Bill, blah, blah, blah. But playing the piano was a way to meet people, and eventually there'd be a girl sitting down on the piano bench with me. I met people like that, and I suppose that was being an entertainer, I guess. But I didn't feel like I was putting on a show. I was just playing for my own.
But it felt good to get the attention, all of us feel good getting attention when we're...
Well, you know what it was? It wasn't attention. It was everybody was having fun doing it. It was kind of, I could be the source of everybody having a lot of fun. It wasn't like I was the center of attention. Other people would start singing, would never think of singing, just because everybody else was gathered around a piano. I worked for a landscaping company, mowing lawns and stuff. I was a painter. We painted houses and did a terrible job. I was more of a smearer than a painter. So I was like, when are we going to get out of here?
Right? Roller.
Anything, rags, just smear the place. If there was, we'd paint this country club and somebody'd be sleeping and they'd have a plate of vegetables outside their window. I'd spray paint the vegetables green, make them look better, that kind of stuff. No, I wasn't serious about it. Worked in a gas station, pumped gas.
Was there a time where you finally zeroed in and say, look, I'm going to try and get it together in rock and roll?
I was still doing that. I was always doing that.
Always doing that.
Yeah. I was always playing at night. The only thing is most musicians know it's very hard to make a living just as a musician. Most guys have a gig where they do bars. They play local bars. They play at the Holiday Inn. Any kind of work you can get. But usually it's not enough to pay the rent and all the rest of the bills. Yeah. So a lot of guys have day gigs. And, you can be an insurance salesman, and at night you turn into this wild bass player, at the Ramada down the road.
Oh, man, was Billy's breakthrough as a nationally recognized artist. But it came after years of struggle, including a short career as a boxer. That and more in a moment when we continue with Billy Joel, the man and his music. I'm Dave Herman. I know you were a boxer for a while. You took that seriously for a while, didn't you?
Yeah, I started boxing when I was 16. I did it for 3 years.
You don't look like a boxer.
Well, I used to have a nose that was turned up when I was a kid. My nose got busted. It's not bad. And
So
my
did you have it fixed, you mean?
No, I didn't ever had it
It
fixed.
just kind of came back to its previous
No,
shape?
it's not still not the same shape. If you look, I got two different size nostrils.
Too bad we're not on TV, Billy, so we could
Yeah, right.
be the right in the close-up in the
If you
camera.
were here, you would see that my nostrils are two different sizes. I really at one time thought about turning pro as a boxer. And then the last fight I had, the amateur, I was an amateur, and this guy hit me, man. He had a skull made out of rubber. I swear, he was a terrible boxer. He had no footwork, he had no hands, he had no defense. But he had a right cross that was like a pile driver. And I was a better boxer than he was. And I'm dancing and I'm moving and I'm thinking, man, this guy doesn't know that I'm better than he is, and I can't prove to him that I am. He hit me once, and I laid down. I said, that's the end of that. For all the skill I have, I can't do anything with this guy. He's too dumb to know that he should be hurt. And I said, that's the end of that. And it really hurt, man. You get hit by a good shot on the button, on the point of the chin.
You really did see stars, right? I mean,
stars come out of your face, and your stomach heaves, and your legs go. You have no control of your legs. You ever see a professional fight, you see these guys, I don't know how they get back up when they've been hit really good. Somehow they're walking around the ring, and their legs are made out of rubber. That's so hard to do, because your legs just go, no. You go, come on, get up. Your legs
it's like your body's saying, I'm going to lie this body down, because you're not going to get hit again.
That's right. Your legs say to your brain, if you don't know, I'm going to tell you, no, I'm not going anywhere. So that was the end of that. That was it for boxing.
Very good impersonator. The show you did at the Bottom Line, long ago, the one we broadcast.
76, right?
76. I don't know whether that was just that night, because I saw that isolated show in that time frame, or whether it was something you were doing then, but I know you don't do it anymore. You did some incredible impersonations.
Yeah. That was, where that came from? We've been on the road 12 years. Well, I've been on the road about 12 years now, maybe not this band. But I've been on the road opening up for a lot of people. Beach Boys, Jay Giles, Doobie Brothers, and I'm doing Piano Man, and most of the crowds there, they want to hear the Beach Boys. They don't want to hear this Piano Man junk. Doobie Brothers, Jay Giles. Jay Giles crowd, that's a rowdy crowd.
They are.
Boogie! Boogie! Giles! And I'm up there and I'm thinking, man, I better do something. Because if they don't like it, it's a terrible feeling. They don't want to see it. So I throw in Joe Cocker or a Stones song, and some people in the back, way in the back, they weren't sure who was on stage. Is that Cocker? What's going on? And they'd kind of like, you'd get some attention that way. You'd get a little bit of the crowd.
But you also did actors. I mean, you did stuff not even musically, just in your rap. As I recall, if my memory is right, I can't tell you who you did, but I remember you standing at the piano there and not playing and doing people in the place in hysterics. Am I right? Am my memory
Yeah,
right?
I've done that. Yeah, I've done that. Maybe it was because we were on the radio, too. Whenever we've done a radio concert, I said, I'd like to bring on a special guest who's here tonight. And I'd have the people in the audience, like, make believe this guy really walked on stage, so the people on the radio...
That's exactly what you were doing.
Right, and I'd say, let's bring on Sylvester Stallone. It's really good to be here, Billy. It's really like your show, It's really good. Hey,
and then, everybody would get into it and applaud, and the people at home really thought Sylvester Stallone was
right, and then people who were listening on the radio go, wow, Stallone came down. That was great, man. So, you got to have fun.
Who else can you do?
I don't know. You got to be on stage with pianos.
Time the 52nd Street album came out, Billy Joel was known not just as a great recording artist and performer, but also as one of America's foremost songwriters. He talks about that, women, and his recently emerging desire to be a father, when we continue with Billy Joel, the man and his music. I'm Dave Herman. Do any of the guys in the band occasionally come up and say, hey, listen, Billy, I wrote this song. What do you think? You think maybe we can work this into the act? Or is it known in front, Billy writes the tunes?
Well, yeah, I'm the writer. When I'm making my album, it's my stuff. No, I do the writing. Sometimes they'll have an idea, something to play musically. But if I don't have something written that day when we're in the studio, when the clock is running, they'll just stand around me and kind of rank me out. Well, what are we going to do now, huh? Big shot, huh? What do you got today? Time's running, clock's running, time's money. And they could be nasty, they could be really mean. But I think that's a New York thing. You kind of egg your brother on.
How long have you now been working with the same band?
This band has been together since, let's see, well, Liberty, the drummer, Russell on guitar, and Doug on bass. They've been with me since '75. We have a new sax player named Mark Rivera, who used to work with Foreigner. He's really, really good. And the guitarist, David Brown, has been with me since 52nd Street, which is 78. So the basis of the band has been there for a long, long time.
Long time.
Yeah.
So the longer it goes on, the more cohesive unit you begin to read each other's minds. And
Yeah, we deal in shorthand. We don't even really talk
that must
English.
work out great on stage when you can really be loose and everybody just knows where to go with something, and you just fall into some kind of a groove.
Yeah, it's gotten to the point where if somebody makes a mistake, everybody gives them like this inside dirty look. And we know that the next time that part of the song comes around again, the best thing to do is make that same mistake again with him. To just kind of point out, remember when you did that the last time?
Yeah, you also go back and forth referring to yourself as me, Billy Joel, and also referring to the records and the things that are created as when we put out a record, and us, and I think you mean the group. So you see yourself not only as an individual writer, performer, recording artist, but you see yourself as part of a group too, don't you?
Well, yeah, when we're on stage, I think of myself as I'm like the lead singer. Because I couldn't think of it as the Billy Joel Show with your host, Billy Joel. You know what I mean? It's a band up there. We work as a band on stage, and I just happen to be the singer. And when we're in the studio, it's a community effort, really. It's not just me. It's Liberty saying, I want to do this on the drums, or Doug saying, I want to do that on the bass, or Phil screaming, you got to do this, It's sort of like communism. But when there has to be
benevolent despot.
Benevolent despot, yeah, that's me. I'm Catherine the Great. But when there has to be, a totalitarian decision made, I'll do it. I'll say, look, this is the way I want to do it.
The buck stops with you.
Yeah, buck stops.
Who do you make music for? Anybody who wants to listen to it, or do you think of a guy, a contemporary of yours, some person in their 30s, or do you think of a 15-year-old, or don't you think about that at all?
I think about what I want to hear on the radio. And I think about what would be fun to play with the band, what we like. We like the Beatles, and we like Jimi Hendrix, and Cream, and Traffic, and we grew up with all kinds of music. We like all kinds of music, and when I'm writing, I think, what would be fun for us to play? What do we like? Because, the guys in the band, they don't like a whole lot of stuff. They're real, it's got to be really good, or else don't even bother me with it. And that's what I think about when I'm writing and recording. What do I like? Because I suppose I'm a contemporary of people my own age, and what do people my own age like? I can't really sit around and think about what does everybody want to hear. I can't get into that.
Billy Joel's music goes beyond rock and roll. Some of his most important songs are ballads, and we'll talk about that and the Grammys when we continue with Billy Joel, the man and his music. I'm Dave Herman. How about as a kid? Let's talk about, we all have dreams and fantasies when we're growing up. When we're alone in a room, we play active things that we fantasize doing when we get all grown up. First of all, you all grown up yet?
No, I don't think I'll be all grown up until I have a kid. I don't think you really know what it's all about until you have children. I think that's when you really, boom, boom, you've made a stake in life, I think. So I'm not all grown up yet.
Is that something that's on your mind right now these days, thinking about having a family?
Well, I'm split with my wife now, but I intend to,
Hard to have a family without a woman.
Yeah, it's kind of tough.
Yeah.
I don't want a family without being legal and all that stuff. But eventually I will. It's not on my mind all the time, but I think about it once in a while. It's people who have children, you just can't run away from life. I think you've got to take care of the kid, and it's tough. You really got to have character to do that.
Yeah, it's one of the few things in life, I guess, that you can't cancel. Once you have, even if you abandon a child, the child's still there. The person is still in the world and in your mind.
Right, a court can't really undo that.
No way.
And that's really staking a claim, I think.
Talked earlier about when you used to play piano and get girls and stuff. Then you got married. Were married for a while. Now you're a single guy again.
Hmm.
How is it being single again?
It's different. It's,
Of course, now you're single. You were once single as Billy Joel in small letters. Now you're single as Billy Joel, capital B, capital J. It's got to be different.
No, it's strange. When I got married, truthfully, I got married for life. I really wanted it to work. And right now, I'm at a stage where it's kind of strange. It's kind of strange to be single. You just get to be used to having somebody. And I'm not a sociable. Well, not that I'm not unsocial. I'm not a barfly. Get around Studio 54 type. Hey, baby, Playboy type. It's just not my thing. I'm kind of an earthy person. So it's an adjustment. It's taking some adjusting.
How about when you meet a woman and some kind of chemistry going on or whatever? Is it difficult knowing whether she wants to get next to you because she really likes this guy? This is a real good guy here. He's fun and I like him. Or do you sometimes wonder whether she doesn't want to get next to you because you're, quote, Billy Joel, unquote?
All right, well, I thought about that. Now, the thing is, I am Billy Joel. I can't get away from that. And
you should be proud to be, right?
What I've done is a lot of what I am. The musician and all that stuff is a big part of me. So that may be just a way of meeting people. Because to meet somebody, you gotta do some kind of weird thing. Hi, what's your sign? Some kind of divine accident has to happen for people to meet anyway. But I don't think somebody's going to be able to put up with me too long just because I'm Billy Joel. Because I'm a person too, and I got my quirks and eccentricities, and I'm not worried about that.
By now you have a substantial body of work. Your albums, your performances.
Yeah, I know. As a matter of fact, now that we're rehearsing, this is the first rehearsal we're doing for the tour. I have so many songs, I can't remember the words. So I have to get myself a word sheet and start remembering the words again. Yesterday at rehearsal, I was oh boy, you better do your homework, Joel.
I was going to say that looking back, though, now I don't know if you can't remember the words now, you might not be able to answer the question, but just looking back, what are some of the songs, new album or other albums, Glass Houses, Stranger, whatever, 52nd Street, that you're most proud of and have just a good feeling, like deep in your gut, that 100, 200 years from now when you're gone, they're going to really still be good tunes and people are still going to get off on them?
Oh, God, I don't know that.
In other words, I'm asking you really basically what it boils down to in a very dramatic way. Are there some things that you can listen to? I mean, I know I've got some of yours.
I tell you the truth, I like them all for different reasons. And every day I like something else. Like yesterday at rehearsal we did Until the Night from 52nd Street. Boy, did that sound good. We did Vienna. Man, that's a nice song. She's Always a Woman. That's a pretty good song. I forget it, So that's not bad. Now today, we'll go to rehearsal. We'll try out some other stuff. I'll probably like those. And tomorrow I'll like some other things. But they're all my children. I gave birth to all of them. And some days I'm going to like some kids better. But I love all my children.
There's more to come in a moment from Billy Joel, the man and his music. I'm Dave Herman, and Billy and I will be right back. Lots of people have amassed, especially people in the entertainment business and the performing business, have amassed quite tidy sums of money and then lost it all for one reason or another. The question really is, would it be hard going back to a life where you really had to worry about the rent next month?
Yes.
Yeah, a simple question gets a simple answer.
Well, I was poor not poor, I just wasn't ahead of the game most of my life, just like most people. You always got to worry about where the next rent check is going to come, and that was a drag. Sure, it was a drag. I could do it. I wouldn't go to pieces. I wouldn't, overdose on drugs or do myself in or anything. But I could. I mean, if I had to, I would do it. I've done it before. I know I'm capable of doing it. Money is not a worry to me. It's just, I don't know how much I have. I don't know how much I'm going to have. I don't know how much I didn't have before. That's for business managers and agents and, accountants. And I'm a musician. I mean, I don't know from that stuff. But I get an allowance. That's it. That's all I need.
Get your salary.
Yeah, I get a salary. I get $200 in a week, and if I need some more money,
Is that the actual figure?
yeah, I get $200, and that's kit. Of course, I got plastic, and I'll put something on the plastic. But I don't go crazy spending money. I mean, look, this is what I dress like. I'm supposed to be well dressed. This is it, man. T-shirt, jeans.
T-shirt, Pro Sound Labs T-shirt.
Yeah, I thought, when you were rich, you're supposed to dress like Richie Rich. The knickers and the bow tie and Little Lord Fauntleroy.
Scrooge McDuck.
Right, dive into piles of money in your bank. I mean,
You mean you don't have a room somewhere in the house there where when you open the door and it's just filled with greenbacks?
no,
Nothing like that.
nothing like that.
You won a bunch of Grammys along with a lot of other awards. And a Grammy is like an Oscar to film people and all. It's a very prestigious award. Where are your Grammys? Where are they?
They're over in the in the house.
In the house.
Yeah.
Now, okay. Now, I also read that you weren't going to you didn't want to bother going to the Grammys.
Well, the first time I was in Paris, so I had a good excuse. The second time, I think I'd just gotten off a tour and I was dead, and the Grammys were in L.A., and those shows kind of come off like Las Vegas-y, I think. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Now, to announce the next winner, what has this got to do with rock and roll? It's now, on the one hand, it's the people in the music industry who do vote for these things. So that's nice. But on the other hand, award shows sort of bug me because it's like the industry's sitting around patting itself on the back going, aren't we wonderful? Look, aren't we just marvelous and groovy and da-da-da, and you sit around and they ask you to wear a tux? Come on, this is rock and roll, man. I mean, black tie.
But hasn't rock and roll always been kind of slighted by the Grammys? I mean, historically, year after year after year.
Well, did Led Zeppelin ever win a Grammy?
No, I don't think so. And I don't know if the Rolling Stones ever did.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that, but I think the Beatles only a few.
Well, then what's wrong? I mean, it's the industry voting for these things. So are they just voting for I always said just because you won a Grammy, that doesn't mean it's the best album of the year. It means that people in the industry voted for it.
Billy Joel, from his album 52nd Street, which won him 4 Billboard magazine awards, including Top Pop Album of 1979, Playboy's Male Vocalist of the Year Award, and the People's Choice Award as Favorite Male Performer. But in spite of all the awards, the critics haven't always been kind to Billy Joel. Billy talks about that and his latest album, The Nylon Curtain, when we continue with Billy Joel, the man and his music. I'm Dave Herman. From the movies, we get the images of mostly of theater people who put on plays, the opening night, and then they all sit up and they wait. Like, you can almost not hold them back until they see the reviews, the notices. I mean, it's like vital to them. At least that's the image we get from old movies and stuff.
Right.
So when you get a record out, do you really say, do you call up the manager and say, hey, listen, have you seen the review and what's yet? I mean, are you really anxious to see what they're going to write about you?
Not really. I'm my own worst critic, really. Once it's gotten past my review, I mean, I'm tearing myself to shreds before I put out a record. If it's past me, then it's okay. If I like it, that's it.
Does it get to a point where you have to, compare what you're putting out now with what went down in the past, or is each record, each album, like a new start? Or do you...
It's always new. It's always a new start. It was once we finish one record, we kind of go, okay, we did that. What are we going to do next? Instead of trying to evolve. I know some groups consciously, we're going to evolve from this album or take it another step further. I think we always set out to do something totally different than we did the last time, which is why people shouldn't be surprised when they hear a new Billy Joel record if it's not anything like the one that went before, because we've always kind of done that. I think
every record has been total departure from what went before.
Yeah, I try to do that because I've done that one thing. Okay, now let's try something totally different, and sometimes it's really a drag because you have nowhere to start from. You're like, you're in new Adventureland already.
There are a lot of people, whether they create record albums or write plays or direct movies or acting movies or whatever they do, if they find something that really works, they can lock into that and have a very successful career, always being who they are and what people expect from them. Then if somebody like yourself, what you're describing is that each new venture is a whole new thing, then you're obviously not afraid to fail at something.
No, you have to try. there's no point in doing anything unless you're taking a risk. I think you have to kind of play close to the edge. Not the Yes album. I mean, literally kind of walk the edge. As a musician, anyway, you owe it to yourself. That's the only way you really grow, is to dare and attempt new, uncharted, places. Otherwise, you're just imitating yourself. You just, I could do Piano Man 2 or Stranger 47. It's like, the John Wayne movies. I don't know if there are really any great John Wayne movies, but John Wayne was always good. But he was always John Wayne in every movie. Even what was that movie he made, The Conqueror? You're beautiful in your anger, my dear. These terrible lines. But I can change up my voice. I like all kinds of music. I like trying all different kinds of things.
Billy Joel from the album Glass Houses. His latest LP, which came out to rave reviews, is called The Nylon Curtain. And once again, Billy did all the writing. His subjects range from pressure to the American dream to the torments of Vietnam. That and more when we continue with Billy Joel, the man and his music. I'm Dave Herman.
First song released off The Nylon Curtain as a single was Pressure.
Yeah.
Real powerful song. Are you feeling a lot of pressure these days?
No, but I was when I was writing that song. I think I was about 2/3 through the writing of the album, and I didn't have any other stuff. I said, well, I got to come up with a couple more songs now. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to say? What am I going to write? And I'm pacing around the house and banging my head against the wall. What am I going to say now? And my secretary came over the house, and she said, boy, you really look like you're under a lot of pressure. Why don't you write about that? And I said, yeah, I know exactly what that's all about right now. That's the perfect thing. Thank you. So I have to hand it to Lynn. It was her idea. And I think everybody's kind of feeling pressure, financial pressure, pressure of, growing up in life and the life and times right now. There is a lot of pressure. And I sat down, and that kind of came out in about 20 minutes. I said, great, I just picture these Moishev dancers dancing on my head,
There are 2 tracks on the album. Before you talked about working in soundtracks and doing Beatle tunes and stuff like that. Now, there are 2 tracks on The Nylon Curtain that are very, very Beatle-sounding, influenced, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Laura, which is one of my 2 favorite songs on the album, and Scandinavian Skies, which is almost even Norwegian Wood, maybe. I don't know if that... So was that purposely? Did you want to kind of do like a little bit of a Beatle sound?
Well, I grew up on the Beatles. I have no problem admitting that that's my influence. There's no shame in that. I mean, if you're going to be influenced by somebody, have it be the Beatles. And they made a couple of magic records in the late 60s. Sgt. Pepper, Magical Mystery Tour, the White Album, Abbey Road. They were just these gorgeous, wonderful, adventurous albums. And you'd put on a pair of headphones and just listen to these over and over and over again. And then it stopped. Just stopped. And I never really heard records like that again. And it's not that I wanted to go back, but I wanted to get that kind of feeling again on a record. And I looked to the Beatles for that kind of texture because they did it the best, I think. And that's definitely, a tip of the hat, man, to the Beatles. Hey, guys, great stuff.
It's probably the song that is going to attract the most attention on the album, I would think, at least initially, because it's such a powerful song and it's produced so... It's almost like going to the movies, listening to Goodnight Saigon with the helicopters and the chorus about we'll all go down together.
Right.
Now you weren't in the war.
No, I wasn't. No, a lot of my friends went, and some of them didn't come back, and some of them came back damaged, and some of them came back okay. And there's sort of a Hollywood version flying around about the Vietnam vet, that he's this crazy guy and the deer hunter, and it's not like that. It's what really went down there. They've never been encouraged to talk about it. These guys, they came back and they kind of had to hang their head a little bit. It's the first war we lost, although it really wasn't. Korea wasn't exactly, the Spanish Civil War either. And they just, for a long, long time, we kind of shunted it aside. We didn't want to know about it. We didn't want to talk about it. We didn't want to think about it. We didn't want to deal with these vets. And they really didn't get the parades and the flag waving and the thanks from everybody. And I dodged the draft. I'll admit it. I mean, I was a draft dodger. I lied to get out. And I also saw when everybody was getting drafted, if you had some money, you could pull some strings. If you knew a lawyer, you could do a legal tap dance. If you could afford to get a shrink, you could get out. If you were in college and your pop, could keep you in college, you could somehow tap dance around it. It seemed to be the lower class or middle class working people who really had no choice but to go. And so I dodged the draft. I did a tap dance, and then I got out because of the lottery. But I felt bad because a lot of my friends did go, and they didn't get any support at all. Now, I know it wasn't right. The war wasn't a just war, but when you're over there, you don't know that. You're getting shot at. And the reason you shoot back is to save your own skin. They thought they were doing the right thing. They thought they were protecting America. They thought they were looking out for us.
Change the subject. There's a lot of people, I mean, the world's full of them. I guess this question comes from me because I'm a disc jockey and I'm so lazy and I would love not to work at all. That's why I do what I do. It's not like really working. People like you work so hard, So the world is full of people who they dream. If they could only strike it rich, it's why people play the lottery, I guess, or, go to the races or whatever. Now, if I could only, be set for life financially, I would have no more worries. I wouldn't have to go to my job, and I could do whatever I wanted, So here you are, a young man in your 30s. I assume from royalties alone, if you didn't want to work anymore, you wouldn't have to worry about money, let's say. So to a lot of people out there, that's the ideal situation. Yet you keep on working, you keep on going on the road, you keep making records. Why?
Well, the money isn't the point. The money is I don't understand money. I don't. I got a house. It's great, and I got motorcycles, and that's how I relate to money. I mean, I don't understand investments and financial skills. As a matter of fact, money has created problems of its own. People start coming out of the woodwork. I always got some money. Well, I got a problem. Give me some money. And you're always going to have a family, and you're always going to have, emotional attachments with people, and those problems go on forever.
So the myth of having a good deal of money doesn't liberate you from anything, really?
No, not at all.
I guess it just liberates you from worrying about money.
Well, it's what Lou Reed had a good expression. He said, money can't buy happiness, but it can buy you a Cadillac so you can drive around and look for it. Yeah. Right. I like that. I subscribe to that, I suppose. But, you got a brain in there, and your brain is never going to leave you alone. Your brain is always going to be pushing you to, well, what are you going to do now? I mean, you're just going to sit around and rot? You really, when you get a kick out of yourself and you really do something well and you did it yourself, you're the only person in the world that could have done that.
Money has nothing to do with that.
Right. That's just a matter of getting off on yourself. And there's no feeling like that in the world. No, there's no drugs like that. There's nothing like that. Sex is about the closest thing to that kind of fulfillment when you did something. And I don't think that's ever really going to leave you alone, that your brain kind of sitting inside your skull going, use me, use me.
Herman with Billy Joel, the man and his music, has been brought to you by Levi's for Men. The Levi's jeans cut and styled for a man. By the U.S. Army, a great place to be all you can be. And by Michelob, some things speak for themselves. This special program was written and produced by Bert Kleinman. Associate producer Carol Provisor. Production and engineering by Bill Levy. Billy Joel, the man and his music, came to you from Westwood One. Executive producer Norm Pattis.